James Turner for the untouchable true school sports. Let's go, baby. Bow!
Be careful what you wish for because it can become a reality.
Yeah. The untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents something the boxing game's been missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT. I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. All right, so I wanted to discuss this particular matchup, and y'all can say the date because it is going to be a very momentous occasion for the light flyweight division. October the 12th is the date. It'll be out there in Japan. And the IBF light flyweight title will be on the line, and it's crazy because this is a weight class that right now there's no Kenshiro in the division. A lot of guys have moved up to 112 from 108. So now 3 of the 4 belts are vacant. This title, the IBF title, which is currently occupied by Sivenathi Nontshinga from Africa, it's the only world title in the division that has a current belt holder, which is Sivenathi Nontshinga. Now, right now, Nontshinga, he's the only African world champion in boxing right now. The last time we saw him in the ring, he had a very, very interesting fight, I would say one of the best fights of the year against Adrian Curiel in the rematch. He had gotten knocked out back in 2023 against Curiel, and then was losing the Curiel rematch in Mexico, and he pulled the rabbit out the hat and was able to get a big knockout in the 10th round to regain the belt back and become 2-time light flyweight champion. So he comes in this fight now, and he's taking on a guy that also has held that same IBF title, and he's fighting Masamichi Yabuki, a fighter that I have a lot of respect for. This is the only man to defeat the great future Hall of Famer, one of the best pound fighters in the world. This is the only man that's ever beaten Kenshiro, the amazing boy. He knocked him out back, I believe, was it 2022? And, he's one of the bigger light flyweights. Most light flyweights generally tend to be, in terms of height, they generally tend to be, 5'3", 5'4". Yabuki's 5'5.5". He's almost 5'6". So, his physical size makes him a tough out for anybody in the weight class. And, the funny thing is, Nontshinga has a 67-inch reach, which I believe it could be. I know it definitely was longer than Kenshiro. He has the longest reach of pretty much any light flyweight in the world. He's one of the longest light flyweights in the world. So you have one of the biggest light flyweights in the world going up against one of the longest light flyweights in the world. So it's going to be a case of, can Yabuki impose his size advantage on Nontshinga, or does Nontshinga is he going to be able to keep him at the right distance to land those big power punches that have made him one of the most dangerous fighters in his weight class for some years now. So I love this fight. Yabuki, kind of going back to him because I want to touch on him. This is a guy with a lot of top experience. Years ago he had a fight against Seigo Yuriakui and got knocked out in a round against him. And, he was also an opponent for Junta Nakatani in Junta Nakatani's 9th pro fight, lost that fight. And, he's done his thing. Really, I would say that Yabuki's actually kind of a bit of an overachiever, because if you look at his career arc, he wasn't supposed to be this relevant in his career. He took some losses early in his career. He's been a fighter that has had difficulties beating some of the guys at the domestic level. Now, in his defense, a lot of the guys that he's been tasked with beating on the Japanese level when he was young are guys that went on to become world champions and higher weight classes. Like Junta Nakatani is a champion at 118. Seigo Yuriakui, champion at 118. So you can't fault him for that. But he has a win against Kenshiro. This is a chance for Yabuki to really put himself back on the map and reestablish himself as one of the top light flyweights in the world. And I think this is gonna be a firefight. I think this is gonna be a fight that, for people that pay attention, it's gonna really move the needle for the hardcore boxing community. Because Sivenathi Nontshinga is never really in a bad fight. Yabuki's never really in a bad fight, and I can't wait to see how it goes. This fight's gonna be in Japan on the Kameda Brothers promotion card. So once again, for Sivenathi Nontshinga, who's won his world title twice in Mexico, is now gonna be tasked with defending it in Japan. So you talk about road warriors. I know there was a lot of talk about like Venado Lopez as a road warrior, and other guys get that label of being a road warrior. This guy, Nontshinga, is quickly becoming one of the premier world warriors in boxing. And I think there's a lot to fight for with him because, like I mentioned earlier, he is the only African world champion in boxing. So he got to hold it down for the continent of Africa. It's hard for African fighters to break through and become relevant, let alone become champion. They got the most odds stacked against him in boxing. So I'm looking forward to seeing how he does and dealing with the physicality of Yabuki. If I'll say it like this, Yabuki is very dangerous in those early rounds. So I think Nontshinga, he's proven in his last fight and in other fights as well that he does have a gas tank. He can punch them. He can punch in them later rounds. He does have the dog. He does have the wherewithal. He does have the gumption to punch in them later rounds, to carry that power into those later rounds. And I think for him, it's going to be all about weathering the storm. He's got an advantage in footwork and foot speed. So using the punch power he has later on is going to be his path to victory, I think. And if the knockout comes, it comes. But I think Nontshinga has the reach, the athleticism, and I've seen it in the past, like when he fought Reggie Sugarnow, he's got the patience to outbox Yabuki and potentially stop him if he lands the right shot. For Yabuki, he's got to take this guy to those deep, dark places and try to land something big early in the fight to get like his will, to impose his will on him early. And if he can do that, maybe he can grind this guy down and outwork him later on and get a stoppage. But I can see multiple paths to victory for both guys. These are both fighters that have been champion, lost. In Nontshinga's case, lost and come back to be champion. This is Yabuki's chance to come back and be champion. So I would say this is one of the better fights left on the schedule for 2024, and I'm looking forward to seeing how it goes because light flyweight, like I said, it's going to go through a period of transition. 3 of the 4 belts are vacant, so I would assume you're going to have like guys like Carlos Salas and Eric Pac-Man Rosa and Shokichi Iwata. These guys will fight for the other belts, and I would assume that at least 1 or 2 of those guys that I named become champion in their fights. But that's my thoughts on Nontshinga versus Yabuki. A really good fight between 2 fighters that have proven a lot in their careers, that have some substance to their story in boxing. So that's what I think. If I had to make a prediction on the fight, and it's going to be tough because it's hard to pick against these Japanese fighters in Japan. They have a pretty good track record in Japan, but I'm actually going to go with Nontshinga. I'm going to say Nontshinga uses his youth, uses his reach, uses his size, uses his pop to figure out Yabuki, and I'm going to say he wins by late round stoppage. Let me see. I'm pretty sure Yabuki got stopped by Kenshiro, but has he ever been stopped besides Kenshiro? He has been stopped by he got stopped by Kenshiro, but he also got stopped by Seigo Yuri Akoi back in 2018. So I think Nontshinga has just as much, if not more, power than those guys. It's all about, for him, can he get in the right position to land those shots, and not get caught with anything big on his own. So we'll see. Good fight, though. A fight that I could definitely see both guys winning, but I make Nontshinga a slight favorite. I'll say he's like at 100%, I make Nontshinga like a 55-45 favorite, If it wasn't in Japan, I'd probably make him a 60-40, but with it being in Japan, that makes it a little bit better for Yabuki. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Who you got favorite and why? Give me your thoughts on the fight as well. And like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just a kid from Dania. So until next time, take care. Thank you for watching another video on the untouchable True School Sports Empire. I'm at the Boxing Hall of Fame out here in Canterbury, New York. And for more great boxing content just like this video, make sure you click and subscribe right over here.